I was locked up in the United States. I'm Canadian, for 2 years in a federal prison. And in those 2 years, my family came to see me. A couple of friends came. I had no husband or boyfriend that came to see me. I went down to the visitation area one day because the FBI came to interview me. So I was down there for hours at a time. And in that time, I saw several men who would come for a 2-hour visit with one woman, and then they'd go after it was over. And then an hour later, they're back to have another visit with another woman. Obviously, these were love interests because the women are kissing them and all this. They look madly in love with the guy. And then even another visit after that. There was an announcement put out on the PA system of the prison saying that you were only allowed at this point to have one significant other to come for a visit with you. In other words, this was mainly for the men, because out of all of the female prisoners that were locked up with me, do you think any of us had boyfriends or husbands come to see us? One lady. Other than that, we were all mothers. We all had kids, and it was up to our parents or brothers or sisters to bring our kids to us. There wasn't husbands or anything like that bringing our children to us. So all of these women were thinking they were the only one for this guy, probably putting money on his books. So all those shows you hear about women that are in love with male prisoners, hello, ding dong, wake up. You're not the only one. You're all getting played. I'm not even kidding. They're all fucking playing you, just so you can put money on their books. I learned so much about how to be a good criminal in jail, in prison, in USA. As I was making cards for people, and I would draw the picture on a piece of regular paper, and then I needed to stick it to the colored paper, and then I would sell the card to the ladies in exchange for commissary stuff, items that, I needed to survive, because the food they give you is shit, everything else they give you is shit. So I hustled for my commissary. And anyways, the only thing I could use to stick my drawings to the front of a card was toothpaste, because it was literally like glue, but it still didn't last quite as long as it should. So I needed glue, the stick glue. So that's the first time I ever really stole anything since I was like 14 years old. A glue stick from the education department so I could make my cards, because you weren't allowed to have glue. That was contraband. And we got checked all the time. We got locked down for contraband checks, and 2 officers would come in your cell with gloves on and turn your cell upside down looking for anything that you might have, a blade or anything at all, tattoo equipment or something, that was illegal. And then you would get thrown in the SHU, secluded housing unit, for however long. And you wouldn't be part of the prison population for however long they decided. But yeah, glue. Never knew so much about prison and committing crimes as I ever learned in prison. So you also learn patience, because all you're doing is sitting around. You go from one place to another place where you just hurry up and wait for hours, sometimes 7 hours in one little cell, sitting somewhere waiting to go to court or to go do anything. You have to wait. You just have to wait. All you're doing is waiting. It's one of the hardest things to have to do. So if you go into jail impatient, trust and believe you'll come out with a lot of patience. I'll never forget when a fellow inmate, female inmate, came in to my cell and asked if she could use my phone. And I was like, phone? Like, we didn't have phones. We didn't even have a fucking microwave in the place. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's got a pillow with her pillow, puts it down on top of my toilet, and starts like bouncing up and down. And there's a slurping sound, like a suctioning sound. And I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? She looks like she's dry humping my toilet. Eventually, she's like, okay, that should do it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go over and take a look, and there's no water in my toilet. None. So she rolls up a piece of paper that she's got and points it into the toilet. And she's like, hello, are you there? Are you there? I'm like, what is this fucking bitch doing? All of a sudden, as if he was standing in the room himself, you could hear a fucking dude's voice. Hey, is that you? Now, let me tell you, when you're in a unisex prison, you're not supposed to look at the male inmates and vice versa. So even though we're traveling around the prison at times to education department or religion department or whatever we sign up to go, because you want to try to get out of the main unit at some point, if there was a group of men passing by, male inmates, we all had to face the wall. We couldn't look. We were not allowed in the elevator usually together with male inmates unless there was maybe only 2 of them and there's only maybe 2 of us. We'd have to face the walls. We were not even allowed to make eye contact. So if you did make eye contact and you did some little flirt between you, suddenly there was a budding romance. So apparently this girl had met some male inmate or seen some male inmate, found out which unit he was in on a couple floors up, and they would talk through the fucking toilet. Yeah, through the pipes of the toilet system. So every once in a while, in the far distance, you'd hear a flush because somebody was using the toilet on whatever floor that it happened to go down the same pipe, and then there'd be a little break in the conversation. I'm like, this shit is crazy. So later that night, so I take my little rolled up piece of paper and I'm like, hello, anybody there? And just like clockwork, I hear a male's voice. It wasn't the same guy that she was talking to, but there was definitely a guy. He's like, hey, baby, what's going on? Where are you? Who's this? And I'm like, wow, this is insane. So, I'm trying to have a regular conversation. He asked me what I was in for. So after that, I asked him what he was in for, and he tells me he's in for murder. I fucking flushed the toilet. That's how you hang up. You flush your goddamn toilet. I flushed that toilet so fast, I'm like, hang up the phone, hang up the phone. That's the voice in my head.